Welcome to PS Academy. I'm your host Istvan, digital marketer and marketing automation specialist, and in this episode we'll be exploring the structural elements of a Facebook ad. If you're new to PS Academy, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're uploading content related to Facebook ads and everything that's digital marketing. So if you're a professional brushing up your skills or you're new to the world of digital marketing, here is the place where you need to be. More theoretical one. Of course, we'll be going hands-on and actually checking out the elements of a Facebook ad, and I'll be showing them to you in Facebook Ads Manager, but at the same time we won't necessarily be making a full-on ad. We'll just be talking about how these different elements work, how they interact with each other, and most importantly, I'll try to highlight the pieces that are vital and you really need to understand in order to create a good Facebook ad. So let's actually get into Facebook Ads Manager and check out how these things work. So I'm over here in the PS Academy ad account, and in order to be able to show you what kind of elements a Facebook ad has, I'll be creating one. So first off, I just want to show you some pieces that are in this dashboard in Facebook Ads Manager. So as you can see, there are three separate tabs: campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And these three tabs, they pretty much illustrate what elements comprise an actual Facebook ad. So there are three pieces to it. There's the campaign, there's the ad set, and the ad. And basically these three things, they all combine together and they are what create an actual Facebook ad. So I'll be hitting create over here in order to show you. And first off, we'll be prompted to select the campaign objective. Now the campaign objective, let me tell you, this is the basis of an ad. This is the absolute core. And selecting this campaign objective is really, really important. So our next video will be actually delving deep into these campaign objectives. And I'll be showing you what each and every one of these objectives is used for and how you can align them with your business goals. But for now, I'll just be choosing reach because this is a pretty simple one and hitting continue. Now, as I hit continue, you can see that this campaign creation menu loaded up. And from the get-go, you'll see that on this left-hand side, the bar over here, we have the three elements: the campaign, the ad set, and the ad. So over here, we're on the campaign level. And here we'll be setting up everything that's related to a campaign. Now I'll just quickly scroll through here so you can see what kind of tabs we have here. So we have the name, we have special ad categories, campaign details, A/B testing, and campaign budget optimization. So let me tell you about each and every one of these. Of course, naming is a huge thing in Facebook ads, because if you want to have a good ad portfolio, you need to be really careful about naming. And there's a lot of things to know about how you should be naming your campaigns, your ad sets, your ads. But I won't be going into those right now. We'll leave this as a later topic. Special ad categories is another difficult one. Basically, if you're running political ads, if you're running ads that are related to, I don't know, social issues, then you need to highlight this. Facebook needs to know, and not only Facebook, but your actual users, the viewers, the people that will be seeing the ads, they need to know this. This ad is about a political topic, it's about a sensitive topic, and so on and so forth. So this is just basically kind of a highlight or a mark for your ads. Now, campaign details, this is important. Of course, here you'll see what kind of campaign you have and what objective you've selected. And of course, the last one I want to talk about, the A/B testing, we'll leave for now. This is basically a tool used for testing, but I don't want to get into that necessarily. But campaign budget optimization, this is another important one. This is basically a setting that, by the way, it'll be pretty much obligatory. So this tab will disappear and campaign budget optimization will be always on. But basically what you're deciding over here is, are you going to be adjusting your budget on the campaign level or on the ad set level? Now for this example, I will switch this to on because basically this will be always on in a couple of months. So you'll always be deciding your budget on the campaign level. So to recap, what do you do on the campaign level? First of all, you select your objective and you set your budget. Now these are two very, very important pieces when it comes to actually creating a Facebook ad campaign. So the campaign, as you will understand it, is kind of this overreaching thing that contains possibly multiple ad sets and a lot of ads, and it sets the budget and the actual objective. As I said, these two are very important. The objective, it basically tells you what kind of results you'll be obtaining from this ad. So are you going to be getting phone calls, messages, sales, traffic on your website? Everything depends on what kind of objective you select. And budget, well, obviously it tells you how much money you'll be spending on this ad. So yeah, that's basically what you set up on this campaign level. You can choose a daily budget or a lifetime budget. Daily budget means you'll be spending that amount of money each day. Lifetime budget means that you'll send a start date and an end date. You'll set up how much money you want to spend, and Facebook will try to equally distribute your budget for each day in that period. Of course, there's a whole algorithm for this, and it's not always going to be a 100% equal distribution, but Facebook kind of intelligently spends your budget, and it keeps itself to the constraints of the budget that you set up. Now, it doesn't really matter what I set up over here. I'll just say this is a test campaign, and I'm not going to set up any special ad categories. We've chosen reach objective, and I'll set up a daily budget of 10 lei, which is fine. I just want to go to the next part, which is the ad set. The ad set, if you were to really simplify it down, is the place where all the targeting happens. And as you may have heard already, targeting is like the bread and butter of a Facebook ads marketer. You'll be doing a lot of targeting, and in consequence, you'll be probably creating a lot of ad sets as well. So just so you kind of understand, if the campaign is the overarching thing that kind of sets up the goal and the result of an ad, ad sets are subdivisions of this campaign in which you set up different audiences, different targeting. So you can imagine, okay, let's say we create a campaign with the goal of selling shoes, right? Now, when you're creating ad sets, you'll be creating ad sets such as an ad set that targets men in order to sell them men's shoes, an ad set that targets women in order to sell them women's shoes, an ad set that targets children, of course, with children's shoes, or, well, if you're being a smart marketer, it'll be targeting parents, in fact, mothers maybe more specifically, in order to sell them children's shoes. So let's actually jump into this ad set over here and see what we're going to be working with. First off, you need to select the page. So you'll be determining which page you're using to advertise. So you might be asking yourself, well, hold on, aren't pages and ads and ads managers linked together? Well, yes and no. So because we're working with a business manager and everything, we can advertise from one ads manager whichever page we want to. So I can advertise PS Academy, I can advertise Pixel Solutions, and so on and so forth. So for this example, I'll just choose PS Academy. Now I won't be going to dynamic creatives necessarily, it's not that important for now, but budget and schedule, obviously really, really important. Now, since we already chose campaign budget optimization, or CBO, so we've set the budget on a campaign level, even though it says budget and schedule, you may notice that there is no budget in this section, there's only the schedule. If I were to untick campaign budget optimization, this is where we'd set up the budget. And obviously this means that if you don't have campaign budget optimization, then you'll be setting a different budget for each ad set. So you'd say, okay, I want to invest $50 every day for men's shoes, $35 for women's shoes, and $150 for kids' shoes, right? Now on CBO, since we have that switched on, you'd say, okay, my total budget is 285, and I want that split among these 3 ad sets, however Facebook thinks it should be split. I'll make a video on campaign budget optimization and ad set budget optimization if Facebook does not remove it until I get to that part where I go a little bit more in depth on how these work, in which situations one is better than the other, and so on and so forth. Now let's go further. Over here, audience, this is really important, of course. This is where all the targeting magic happens. And if you saw my video on how to use Facebook boosted posts, you already have a slight idea of how targeting works, what kind of parameters you can use. So everything that you're doing with your audience happens over here in this section. You can use saved audiences, you can use custom audiences, and so on and so forth. Placements. Now, this is another good one and an important one. Now, Facebook always recommends that you use automatic placements. But what are placements? Placements are basically the places where you can put your ads. So you probably are really used to the regular timeline ads. So you're scrolling through Facebook and ads show up on your actual timeline. But there's a bunch of other places where ads can pop up. They can pop up in stories, they can pop up in Messenger, they can pop up on the right-hand side bar, they can pop up in the marketplace. There's a bunch of places where you can put your ads. And if we select manual placements over here, you'll actually see all of these placements. So there's Instagram feed, Facebook Marketplace, Instagram stories, in-stream placements, search placements, and messages. Now, based on what kind of audience you have, you might want to try different kinds of placements. You might want to put your video in stream. You might want to run your banners only on people's timelines. You might only want to run some ads in article, and so on and so forth. So basically in this placements tab over here, you'll be selecting where you want to run these ads. Now I'll just select automatic over here. And then last is optimization and delivery. Optimization and delivery, it's kind of advanced settings, and you're kind of telling Facebook, okay, what do you want to pay for and how much you want to pay for these stats. I'll be going into this in a later video since it's a more advanced topic, and regularly you won't be working a lot with this until you get to a really high level of Facebook ads. And trust me, if you leave it on the basic settings, you're still going to be doing a fairly good job, so don't worry too much about optimization and delivery. So just to recap, what do you set up in an ad set? Well, first of all, you choose the page which you'll be using to advertise. Then you're going to be setting the budget and schedule, and maybe you've already set up the budget on the campaign level. Then you're going to be setting the audience, so you'll be doing all this targeting stuff. And of course, then after that, you'll be setting the placements, so where you want your ads to show up. And as I said in the example, there's a bunch of ways you can mix stuff up with different kinds of ad sets in the same campaign. So you might be asking yourself, is there a limit? So if I have one campaign, how many ad sets can I put into it? Well, technically, there's no limit. You could put in how many ad sets you want to. However, practically, you may want to not put in too many ad sets because you'll be stretching your budget thin. So if you're optimizing on ad sets and you're setting different budgets for each of these ad sets, you'll be probably downscaling the budget if you're putting in a lot of ad sets. If you're optimizing on your campaign, then your campaign is probably going to choose a couple of the audiences or ad sets that you created, and then the others will be neglected. So don't go too crazy, don't go too in-depth, like targeting 17-year-olds separately and then 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds separately. You can in theory do that, but it's not always necessary. It depends a lot on what you're doing with your ads. Now we're actually in the third part, and this is about the ad itself. And maybe this is the most creative part of it all, although you can be really creative with your targeting as well. But yeah, this is the actual place where you set up the ad itself. So you choose a creative, you put on the description, you add a headline to it, and so on and so forth. So let's actually jump in and see what's going on over here. And you may see, okay, we have the identity over here. So again, this is about which page we're using. We can also select an Instagram account, and then it's the actual ad setup. And this is basically the core of the ad level settings. So in the ad setup, you'll be choosing what kind of ad you want. So it can be a single image, it can be a video, it can be a group of images or a carousel, it can be an instant experience. There's a lot of formats that Facebook gives you. And of course, all of these formats you can use in different scenarios. So as you can see over here, I can say, okay, I want a single image, and in the ad creative section over here, I'll choose this image. So I can clear this out. It already selected something for me, but I can say, okay, I want to add an image, and I'll just choose this and click next. And then it'll show me all these different placements, because at the moment I have automatic placements, which means Facebook could place my ad anywhere on their platform. So there's different kind of fits for all of these, and it tells me, okay, you need to choose some of these, whether they're all right, and you want to crop this image or change it, and so on and so forth. And I'll just click done over here. And now my media is selected. I can even go and edit individual placements. So if I want my image to appear differently on a story and appear differently on the search results page, then I can actually edit this and have separate creatives for this. So I can have separate banners, I can edit them. Okay, this one fits the story, this one fits the timeline. And it gives me a lot of freedom, and I can make ads appear really, really professional here if I spend a lot of time on this, of course. And then we've got two more sections over here, which is languages. And yes, you can create multilingual ads. So I can set up the ad to be in Spanish as well as in English. So whenever someone that's using Facebook in Spanish gets the ad, they'll get the Spanish version. And whenever someone is using Facebook in English, they'll get the English version. And then we have tracking, which is again one of the really important parts, and maybe a lot of marketers don't realize this, but you need to set up some stuff over here in this tracking section if you have a Facebook pixel, of course, and if you're using the proper tracking tools, then this is where you need to make sure you tick these boxes and set everything up accordingly. And this will help you actually get the real results of your campaigns. You'll actually see what they're producing for you as a company. So yeah, pay a lot of attention to this tracking section. Pay a lot of attention to the ad creative itself, because, well, it's the actual ad that people will be seeing. And the ad setup part over here regarding the format. So are you going to run a carousel? Are you going to run an instant experience? And as I said, you can have a lot of ads. So for each ad set, you can have a separate ads. So if we're advertising children's shoes, in that ad set, I'll have maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe even 20 different images, videos that I'll set up as ads. And then in the other ad sets, like women's shoes and men's shoes, I'll be again setting up another 5 and another 10 ads. Because obviously I don't want images with children's shoes appearing in my women's shoes ad set, and vice versa as well. So I hope I kind of gave you the basic understanding of the structure of a campaign. And let me recap. So we have the overarching campaign where you select your objective and usually also select your budget. Then we have the subdivisions, which are ad sets, where you'll be going in depth into targeting. So you can have ad sets that target women, you can have ad sets that target men that live in a specific city, and then you can have ad sets that target, I don't know, frequent buyers from your website, or all sorts of options basically. But the idea is that the ad set controls targeting and placements. And then in each ad set, you also have a bunch of actual ads, or as we like to call them, creatives. And over here, you can really play around So in every ad set, you can have a whole bunch of creatives. You can sometimes even combine it, so you can use one creative in multiple ad sets if you'd like to, and if the situation fits it, of course. That's it for today, guys. I hope I gave you a good image of the structure of a campaign and kind of gave you an understanding of how each of these elements combine and work together. Of course, there's still a lot to discuss about actual creation of an ad, a lot to discuss about all these different options. And as I said, I'll be going into a lot of these things in future videos. The upcoming one, it will focus specifically on campaign objectives. And this is maybe the most important thing that you'll be learning about Facebook ads. So make sure you tune in next time and pay attention. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up and show some appreciation down below in the comments. Thank you very much for being with us, guys, and I'll see you next time on PS Academy.